Good morning. It is now 11:01 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, May 21st Board of Control meeting. Dale Miller. Here. Joe Nani serving as an alternate for Nan Baker.
Here.
Trevor McAleer serving as an alternate for Dan Brady. Mike Dever.
Here.
Armin Budish.
Here.
Dennis Kennedy. Here. Lenora Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Minutes from May 14th. Are there any corrections? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dever. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Public comment?
No public comment at this time.
Tabled items?
And no tabled items.
Okay.
First item for review, item number BC 2018-303, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 41865 to Interstate Safety and Service Co., Inc., and it's in the amount not to exceed $290,125 for furnishing and delivery of washed limestone for the period July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2020.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item, we're recommending award to Interstate Safety. It's for the furnishing and delivery of limestone. It's a not to exceed 3-year contract. This was a formal bid conducted through OPD. There was 10 vendors. Interstate was the only bidder. There's 2 different types of limestone that our sanitary division uses. And again, this is a 3-year not to exceed contract.
Thank you. Any questions? Question? Councilman Miller.
How does the price that we're paying in this contract compare to what we've paid in the past?
There is a slight increase, just I think due to inflation. For example, I think the number 57, which is the larger stones, this new bid we're paying $22.40 a ton. The previous was $21.15 a ton, so just a slight increase.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-304, Department of Public Works. A, submitting an amendment, subsidiary number 1, to a contract with Shermer Construction, LLC for Southern Estates Pump Station entrance drive repairs in the city of Brecksville for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $24,169.20. And B, recommending to accept construction as complete and in accordance with plans and specifications, requesting authority for the county treasurer to release the escrow account in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, section 153.63.
Dave Marquardt from the Department of Public Works. This is the final amendment for the Southern Estates Pump Station entrance drive. The project is complete. The amendment is for adjusting the final quantities used to construct the project. The major items that contributed to the increase in cost, the first one related to additional trees that were planted around the pump station site and driveway to screen the pump station site from the residents' property. The second included construction of a timber fence on top of the retaining wall versus chain link fence. We had a request from the property owner to change to a better looking fence than what a chain link fence would be. So we went ahead and modified to the timber type fence. There was a large dead tree discovered near the power lines that went to the pump station. The tree was removed, and the final item was that the pump station drive needed to be widened in the curve section to allow for more clearance for our sewer vector to get safely down the driveway. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Councilman Miller.
How much does the total project cost?
The total cost is $276,916.20 after the amendment.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-305, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a Board of Approval Control Number BC 2017-299 dated April 17, 2017, which approved a participation agreement with the City of Brecksville Purchasing Consortium for the purchase of sodium chloride for the 2017-2018 winter season by increasing the not-to-exceed amount from $24,500 to $29,500.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item, we're just looking to amend the original participation that was approved to participate in the City of Brecksville Purchasing Consortium. County doesn't buy too much salt anymore since we don't do the township roads, so we just do the sidewalks and the parking lots. We went through a lot of salt this year, so we're looking to actually replenish our stock so we have it in anticipation of next year. The consortium is actually bid out every few years by the City of Brecksville. They're conducting their bid right now for the new contract season. This consortium contract goes from November 1st until October 31st every year. So we have the option to buy up to October 31st at the current rate. We're anticipating a price increase in the salt, so we want to take advantage of it as much as we can. So,
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
thank you.
Item BC 2018-306, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42255 and enter into a contract with Weed Pro Ltd. in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for organic lawn and weed control services. And it's for the period May 21st, 2018 through May 20th, 2019.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works again. This item, we're recommending an award to Weed Pro. This is for the organic lawn care services. I believe we do this at 10 of our properties. We bid this out through Buy-Speed informally. There were 16 bids, or 16 vendors got the bid, one response. It's a one-year contract. It's not to exceed $20,000. Includes 4 applications, promotes the healthy lawns, environmentally sustainable and pet-friendly lawns. We worked with our environmental and health safety manager, and there's a city ordinance, I think it's number 620. We have to have certain type of requirements for pesticides. This bid, as well as the submission, follows along that guideline.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes.
Councilman Miller.
Did we have a similar contract last year, and if so, was the amount similar or different?
I believe it was similar, but I can double check.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-307, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a sublease agreement with Ohio Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Motor Vehicles for lease of space located at 14,000 Broadway Avenue in Garfield Heights for use by the Fiscal Office / Auto Title Department. And it's for the period February 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $10,200.
John Myers on behalf of Department of Public Works. This is simply a one-year extension for our current use of space that we sublease from the State Bureau of Motor Vehicles to provide for our Southeast Auto Title function. You can see the amount there. It's a small amount, and $10,200 for this continued function to work with the state and the License Bureau.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item BC 2018-308, Department of Development, recommending a payment in the amount of $75,000 to Ohio Aerospace Institute for operational support of Arizona Alliance activities. And it's for the period May 21st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018.
Good morning. Paul Herdig with the Department of Development. From its general fund budget, Development is going to make an operating support payment to Ohio Aerospace Institute. They're acting as the fiscal agent for the Arizona Alliance, and this will be operational support of the Arizona Alliance for the balance of the year 2018.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councilman Miller.
I just want to express my support to the administration for their support of this effort, which it encompasses parts of my district, Councilwoman Baker's district and Councilman Gallagher's district, to foster economic development spin-offs in the communities immediately surrounding NASA Glenn Research Center and the airport. Thank you.
And we second that for you. Thank you for your work and support. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you.
Item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2018-309, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RP exemption on requisition 42434, which will result in an award recommendation to Vanguard Integrity Professionals, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $3,629 for update, maintenance, and support on Resource Access Control Facility Administrator Security Software. And it's for the period June 26, 2018 through June 25, 2019. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Board. Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This department order is for security access software with the IBM platform. It's for the security, the operating system and the applications that still reside on the mainframe. This is a one-year award. The mainframe is planned on being shut down sometime in 19. There's not a definitive target date yet. And we are coming off a 3-year contract that we had prior, and the money was very similar. Dale, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was between $10,000 and $11,000 for a 3-year contract prior.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. McAleer.
Just for clarification, it'll be shut down because of the ERP system, right? Is that why we don't need the contract?
One big general answer, yeah.
Thank you.
Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2018-310, again, Department of Information Technology. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42501, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount not to exceed $2,678, and it's for the purchase of 20 VLA Windows Remote Desktop License software. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Morning again, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. This is a software purchase. This department order is going through our EA agreement with Dell. And Microsoft Windows Server software is being used primarily by the Sheriff's Department. They only have 2 user licenses at this present time for their IMAX system and for what they call the TAC RMS systems. And this is for additional user access, simultaneous access.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, BC 2018-311, is being withdrawn from the Board of Control. It will be considered by council, county council.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-312, Department of Human Resources, submitting an amendment to a contract with College Now of Greater Cleveland, Inc. for student loan restructuring services for Cuyahoga County employees, and it's for the period May 15, 2016 through May 14, 2018, to extend the time period to May 14, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
Good morning, Holly Woods, Director of HR for Benefits and Compensation. So this is a 1-year amendment for College Now. They are a public service loan forgiveness entity. We have engaged with College Now since 2016. In the first year alone, College Now assisted 332 of our employees in evaluating, doing some loan restructuring or seeing if they're eligible for loan forgiveness. In year 1, out of those 332 employees, 76% were eligible for loan forgiveness. And just so far in 2018, since January, they've assisted 39 of our employees in similar efforts. And they have a percentage of employees attending these sessions, 90% have been eligible for forgiveness. So providing a great service to our employees, making sure that they are having appropriate loans for their continuing education, any education they've had prior to coming to the county, and we'd like to continue those efforts moving forward.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-313, Fiscal Office, Office of the Treasurer, submitting an amendment to a contract with F&E Check Protector Company of Ohio, doing business as F&E Payment Pros, for a digital remittance processing system and maintenance services for the period October 1st, 2014 through September 30th, 2018. To change the scope of services by adding an additional programming to generate a second cash letter for the digital remittance processing system. And it's effective May 21st, 2018, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $950.
Good morning, Chris Murray, County Treasurer. I'm here presenting an amendment to our existing digital remittance system. This amendment will allow us to generate a second cash letter and then treasurer parlance. We have two cash letters that are generated. There's going to be one that will record the daily cash receipts for all agency revenues, and then we will have a second now for tax collection. This will help us with reconciliation to the new Harris RPT system.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-314, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a master contract with various providers for substance abuse assessment and treatment and dual diagnosis assessment services. And it's for the period July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2019, for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $410,000 for A, Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau, B, Catholic Charities Corporation, C, Cornell Abraxas Group, Inc., and D, Ohio Guidestone.
Good morning, Karen Littman with Juvenile Court. This is an amendment to our contract for substance abuse assessment and treatment for probation youth in the community. It also includes dual diagnosis assessment and treatment services. The vast majority of this is paid through our Title IV-E account. There is a small amount that we have in our Ohio Reclaim Grant.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-315, again, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, and Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Case Western Reserve University on behalf of the Begun Center for Violence Prevention, Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences, for multisystemic therapy training and consultation services. And it's for the period July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2018, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $75,600.
Karen Littman again with Juvenile Court. This contract is, again, an amendment for, this is the consultation and training services that are required as part of a multisystemic therapy, or MST. We do this contract in conjunction with the Department of Children and Family Services, because it's the same service and we both get it separately, but we get it together from the same folks. And I believe the costs are the same as last year.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes.
Councilman Miller.
How is it determined that there's a 50-50 split on the targeted reclaim and the HHS levy?
Oh, because the court's portion is on reclaim and the Children and Family Services is on levy.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-316, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a contract with Case Western Reserve University, Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences, and it's for evaluation services for the period September 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $18,000.
Karen Littman again with Juvenile Court. Last state fiscal year, the court got what's called a competitive reclaim grant. We got three components to it. A required component of that is an evaluation component, which we do through CASE. So this is for each of those three components. There's two for $5,000 and one for $8,000 annually.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Dever. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-317, Office of the Medical Examiner, recommending a sole source award on requisition 42459 to Thermo Electron North America LLC in the amount of $474,551.23 for the purchase of one Exactive Focus R2 liquid chromatograph high-resolution accurate mass spectrometer.
There is a test. Hugh Shannon from the Medical Examiner's Office. So the QLC high-res mass spec is the next level of sophistication in the equipment that we use to determine what drugs are in blood, urine, et cetera, for those people who are have passed away from drug abuse. This we had actually scheduled $500,000 out of our ME Lab Fund in the last budget process. In the meantime, we have gotten an award that will cover about half of the cost, so that is a savings, as well as we're getting a deep discount by locking this in now of about $100,000. So this will allow the lab to move forward, and we'll be able to stop sending as many samples out to private laboratories, because the high resolution detection of this particular equipment will now help us identify the smaller molecules from the what they're calling the novel synthetic opioids, basically all of the fentanyl analogs that we're kind of chasing.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-318, Office of Medical Examiner, submitting an amendment to a contract with Parma Laundry Service, Inc. for laundry services for the period November 1st, 2015 through October 31st, 2018, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $7,000.
Hugh Shannon, again, Medical Examiner's Office. Quite simply, more cases, more laundry. So we're just trying to get us through the end of this contract period.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye.
Thank you.
It passes. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-319, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 41890, which will result in an award recommendation to SAS Institute, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $55,244.20 for software license support and maintenance on the Critical Data Analysis Mimics system for the Northeast Ohio Regional Fusion Center. And it's for the period April 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2020. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And this contract is for the MEMIC system, which is used by the Fusion Center for the maintenance and use of intelligence software. They use it to store their intelligence and suspicious activity reports, as well as their terrorist screening hits. This is a proprietary software that they've been using since 2008, and it's the software that is also used by the other partners in the Ohio Fusion Network. We did have a delay in bringing this contract to you. The county had finished their process, and I had to ask Andrea to table it while we waited for the state of Ohio's approval of the procurement. Had we not waited, we would have forfeited the ability to use grant dollars to pay for this contract with this contract and moving forward.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-320, again, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42050, which will result in an award recommendation to Omega Mentoring Youth in the amount not to exceed $38,325.87 for the Making Generational Change Possible grant project in connection with the fiscal year 2017 Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Disproportionate Minority Contact Title II Formula Grant Program. And it's for the period January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
This is a subrecipient agreement with Omega. They were part of the original grant application that we submitted for the Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Grant. and they will be providing youth mentoring. The idea is to make the youth more accountable for their decision-making and help them improve their decision-making process. We did have to wait until the state gave us the official notice of the award. The contract period is to coincide with the grant award period.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item is also a two-part item, item BC 2018-321, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42286, which will result in an award recommendation to Omega Mentoring Youth in the amount not to exceed $6,674.13 for the Making Generational Change Possible grant project in connection with the fiscal year 2016 Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Disproportionate Minority Contact Title II Formula Grant Program for the period, and the time period is going to be amended just slightly for April 1st, 2018, not 2017, through September 30th, 2018. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
This contract is actually for the same services that I just described with Omega for the 17 Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Grant. When they made their original ask, they had requested $45,000, and with the amount of money that we were told we may have available, there wasn't enough to meet their entire request. We did identify that we had some supplemental monies that became available because of underperformance by other providers on our 16 grant, and so we went through a process of entertaining proposals, and a recommendation was made to give money to Omega to bring them up to the $45,000 that they had requested for 17. The other supplemental awards were intended to be effective April 1st. However, Omega, being a new provider, had some difficulty getting their insurance documentation in.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, on this one and the one before, it says that an allocation committee made the decisions.
That's correct.
Who is, or can you give me a little background on what's the allocation committee?
The allocation committee are made up of individuals who actually work with juvenile in the area. The Chief Niedert from the South Euclid Police is actually the chair of that committee. There's representatives from the Juvenile Court, Case Western Reserve, the Public Defender's Office, the Fatherhood Initiative, Domestic Relations, Cleveland State, and the Partnership for Safer Cleveland.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes, and I have to add, I'm jealous of Mr. McAleer, who was able to look at the screen and read it. I've lost that ability. Okay.
Next item, item number BC 2018-322, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, Witness Victim. Recommending an award on requisition 41839 and enter into a contract with Mental Health Services for homeless persons doing business as frontline service in the amount not to exceed $24,000 for enhanced therapeutic and acute intervention services for the period May 21st, 2018 through May 20th, 2019.
The Family Justice Center has experienced a high volume of adult victims and children who are in need of acute intervention or therapy services when they arrive at the FJC. So this contract will be to provide those services to these individuals, specifically adult victims of interpersonal violence or trauma therapy to children who are victims or witness domestic violence. And the referrals will be made by the Family Justice Center. There is a requirement in this contract that if the victim is eligible for Medicaid, that Medicaid must be invoiced and not the county.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. McAleer.
Just one question. It is general fund versus Health and Human Service levy dollars. I just want to make sure that's okay, because I know this is, I think, one of the ones where we have switched depending on what fund is healthier at the time in the past. So make sure.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-323, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42592, which will result in an award recommendation to Mobile Med One, Inc., doing business as MedWorks, in the amount not to exceed $90,648 for administration, outreach, enrollment, and coordination services for the Cuyahoga Health Access Partnership Program. And it's for the period July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2020. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Sabrina Roberts from the Department of Health and Human Services. About a decade ago, Cuyahoga County led the process to formalize healthcare organizations under one umbrella to work on the issue of access. The partnership was named CHAP, Cuyahoga Health Access Partnership. The founding members are Academy of Medicine of Northeast Ohio, Carolinas Health Center, CareSource, City of Cleveland, Cleveland Clinic, Cuyahoga County, Metro Health System, Neighborhood Family Practice, NEON, which is Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services, North Coast Health, Sisters of Charity. It was undergirded with substantial grant funding from St. Luke's Foundation, which was sort of a co-lead for us. This project now, as we move forward, all of these partners decided we have some back office, some expenses, so to better utilize the funds so that CHAP can still do the access plan work, which is to maintain a web-based eligibility access plan where once you're rated in these systems, you only need to be rated one time. So whatever system you go to, you don't have that continual, let me take you through the paperwork. Navigation services, we actually have a navigator in the county jail in 2016 that they've connected 842 people. And in 2017, they had touches of 1,731, and the applications that were approved at that point in time was 1,351. So just having that resource for people re-entering from jail. And then lastly, the Northeast Ohio Outreach and Enrollment Council, they spearhead convening 40 organizations who work in the community on this issue of access. So they keep it with best practice, and they have a good relationship with our JFS department. And to brag a little bit, the last U.S., well, not the last lately, but the last U.S. Under President Obama's administration, U.S. Secretary Burwell came because we were doing such a good job. So this is to continue the good work and to have an organization streamline the back office work so we don't have to pay for it.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. McAleer.
Spring, just is UH in that group?
UH has never been a part of that, like not with Robert Woods Johnson's grant. They never, but one thing that's great and another reason our partners wanted to work with Mobile Med One, who is MedWorks, they have the pop-up clinics where they serve thousands of people. UH is at the table on that, so now they will be at the table. So it's a little strategic.
And then can I follow up on one of the figures you gave for the jail? Is that because Metro Health was in the jail signing, making sure that the people were going through that process?
That's CHAP.
CHAP, okay. Good program. Thank
This partnership, we're putting toward the partnership, quite honestly, we have a whole full-time person, so we're getting a lot from this partnership. So.
Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-324, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42534, which will result in an award recommendation to Waiting Child Fund, now known as Connect, in the amount not to exceed $351,912 for child welfare personnel, training, and consulting in connection with the National Quality Improvement Center of Tailored Services, Placement Stability, and Permanency for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Questioning, and Two-Spirit Children and Youth in Foster Care. For that grant program, and it's for the period September 30th, 2017 through September 30th, 2021, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning. I'm Karen Anderson with the Division of Children and Family Services, And some of you may remember I was here, 3 weeks ago, getting our contract with DCFS and the University of Maryland as a result of this federal grant award approved. Today I'm here because Connect is one of the sub-grantees that will be providing services to help us serve the LGBTQ youth in our care by providing permanency, adoption services, but also connections to those kids. Kids who age out of foster care do not have great outcomes, and for kids who are LGBTQ, the possibility of finding affirming family and affirming relationships may not be as great as even other kids. And so this project, that will be one of the focus areas, and that is what Connect is helping us with. I may proactively say, I know this has a date of 9/30. As I said a few weeks ago, and we'll say again, in our grant application to the University of Maryland, we were asked, they sent us a sample contract. We were asked to submit our comments. Our county's law department did that. When Maryland returned the contract, not all of those pieces were incorporated, and there was just a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, the county was able to have the legal assurances that it needed, but that's the delay.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
I'm presuming that the University of Maryland funding is basically one time over the length of this contract. My question is, have we given any thought to what becomes of these services once the time for this contract is done?
Absolutely. This is a federal, University of Maryland was the federal recipient through the Department of Health and Human Services Children's Bureau, and we're one of the 4 national subcontractors with Maryland. Part of any well-thought-out program is institutionalization. How do we keep that going? And we are concurrent to planning, which we're really in the planning phases still, always considering how do we keep this going. For example, there's a large component of this for foster parent training. One of the things that we're going to do is be sure to write the curriculum, to implement the curriculum in a way that's compatible with the regional training center, the Ohio Child Welfare Training, which is how child welfare gets its training dollars, so that this can become part of that. And, we'll always have a funding source for that. So, yes, some of the areas are a little more challenging thinking about how to go forward than others, but it is part of what we're doing.
Okay. Further questions? Oh, yes, Mr. Kennedy.
I'm not expecting to know the answer, but do you have an idea what the total amount of the award that we received from Maryland
We
was?
do. It's $219,026 each year, so about $220,000 each year for 4 years, so $880,000. Of that, $351 is going to Connect, and another about $100,000 will be going to Case Western for evaluation. They're still in the process of submitting documents, so theirs wasn't able to be reviewed today. So it's almost a 50-50 split. The Department of Children and Family Services is using that for some personnel and development costs, and then we're working with our 2 partners.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Follow-up question.
Yes, Councilman Miller.
The 350, 2,000 here, and the 100,000 for Case Western brings us up to 450-some thousand.
Right, and we'll get 880.
So where will the rest of it go?
We have, we submitted a budget as part of this project. We were required to have a full-time project team leader. a 25% data person to help us comply with the data and evaluation components, as well as we have a budget for foster parent recruitment and marketing kinds of things. So that was part of it was DCFS personnel costs and supplies, essentially.
Okay.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-325, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau for youth mentoring services. And it's for the period July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Good morning, Bob Math with Department of Health and Human Services on behalf of Division of Children and Family Services. This is an amendment to our current contract with Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau to continue their youth mentoring program for kids between the age of 10 and 18 years old that are in the permanent custody of the county. This was competitively procured last year. We received 6 responses, and Belfair was the recommended provider at the time. And we want to continue this for a second year, as the number of referrals. The referrals are a little lagging so far from DCFS, but we expect that to pick up in the fourth quarter and then beginning of next year. So right now they currently have 19 children that are in matches, that have successfully been matched, and that are in the process of recruiting more mentees and more mentors going forward.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you. And we're on to the exemptions.
Next item, BC 2018-326, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an alternate procurement process on requisition 42658, which will result in an award recommendation to Association of Public Safety Communications Officials International, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $4,226.50, and it's for the purchase of 25 public safety telecommunicator and 25 emergency medical dispatch training manuals.
Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. APCO is a nonprofit organization that sets the national standards for emergency dispatch. Their training materials are copyrighted and they can only be purchased from them by a certified instructor. The actual training is going to be done by CCOM supervisors who hold those certifications. We do have some community partners that will be participating in this training, specifically the National Park System and RTA, who will be reimbursing us for their training materials.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dever. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're on to the consent agenda. Items 327 to 329. Very good.
Couple questions on the
Thank you. Councilman Miller.
agenda. The first question is regarding the items already purchased, of which there's 10 items, and I'm wondering why so many items can be purchased without prior approval.
In regards to requisition numbers 42742, 42743, and 42746, under the Department of Workforce Development for the Skill Up Training for the Learn and Earn program, the department has requested that these 3 items be held until next week so that a representative can address why the items were purchased before approval. But I did mention in my comments that you submitted that they did an alternate procurement process, which approved the items to go forward, but within the guidelines of that alternate procurement process, they are supposed to bring forward the actual POs or direct orders for approval.
That alternative process was adopted November of 17.
And I'm sorry, and then for the next items, it's the same circumstance, and it's under, starting with requisition number 42553 for the Family Centered Services and Supports Family Membership and Pool Pass. We have Kathleen Johnson here from Family and Children First Council to address your question.
Hi, this service is for family-centered services and supports. It's a state and federal funded programming, and what we are allowed to do or mandated to do through the state, through all Family Children First Councils across the state, they give us the funding, and we take the applications, we approve them based on the guidance documents, rules and regs. Some of the passes are for the whole year, so that might be like from May 2018 until May 2019, and it just depends on when the family applies for the funding. With the Board of DD and some of the other providers that we contract with or that we work with for FCSS, they can use other funding sources, like the Board of DD has a pot of money that they use for families. These are all non-Medicaid services for the families. Some of them are rec passes to the different cities. Some of them are for iPads if they have speech needs. The parents choose the service based on the need of the child. So there's a very stringent process that they have to go to get the funding, but we just don't know when the services are going to be used. So that's why some of them may already be purchased, but some of them are payment for it in the future.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Miller.
On the last item, the CT 18-42773, on the $75,000, can you explain why this comes as an open market purchase rather than being a separate Board of Control item?
I think I can, Councilman. So this is an item that we presented last week's Board of Control for the amendment to our alternate procurement to allow our not-to-exceed amount to be $275,000 in lieu of the previous not-to-exceed amount of $200,000. So this will be the resulting purchase order that is going through the approval process now for that $75,000 of doors and hardware supplies to finish out our Cleveland Police build-out for those particular materials.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
sorry.
on the three skill up items, I would not have any objection if they were passed and the department could get back to me with an explanation. But I don't. This is an established ongoing program. I don't feel that it needs to be held.
Thank you.
Then I will move to, oh, yes, go ahead.
All right, Lenore Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. I just wanted to state that item BC 2018-328, the vendor Grace Haven, has not registered with the Inspector General. They were originally awarded as part of the time-sensitive mission critical when the child or children were placed, and now they are adding them to the master contract. So I would request on behalf of the department that this be contingent upon them completing that registration.
Very good. I will accept that as an amendment. Any other? Seeing none, I move to adopt the items on the consent agenda as amended. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Nani. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The items on the consent agenda are approved, and will procurement please contact development to make sure they get a response to Councilman Miller. Thank you. All right, other business.
Yes, we have one mission-critical item. It's from the Department of Public Works. It's requisition number 42759, recommending an award on requisition 42759 in the amount not to exceed $24,745 for Ohio Graphic Inc. as the vendor for the purchase of one reconditioned Ryobi 3200 offset press for the print shop. And the funding source is?
It's the print shop, internal service fund print shop, which ultimately is general fund, which gets shared. Mike Chambers, Public Works, we're asking for approval of this time-sensitive piece of equipment. We did put it out in buy speed to 10 vendors. One bid was submitted, and we're asking for approval. This is a very heavily used piece of equipment that's used daily. It's a press that also acts as our envelope feeder, and we use it to engrave the envelopes as well.
Thank you. I move to amend today's agenda to consider this item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is amended. Any questions on the item?
Yes, how
Councilman
much
Miller.
money are we talking about?
It's $24,745.
And can you explain, this would seem to be something that we could have anticipated the need for. Why did it come in this fashion?
What it is this is a heavily used piece of equipment, but the one we had was, it's old, but we were able to get parts. We were unable to get any more parts for it. I do agree with you that in hindsight, we probably should have planned a little bit further, but I mean, it's one of those pieces of equipment that they last forever until forever comes, and that's what happened. And we are fortunate to find this replacement piece of equipment to keep it going.
And given that we only got one bid, do we have any confidence that the price is reasonable?
I do feel it's reasonable. I mean, we do get parts and installation is all included, 180-day warranty, so I feel very comfortable with that. Once again, this isn't software driven. These are cranks, chains. I mean, this is a solid piece of equipment that'll keep working for a long time.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dever. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item's approved.
Thank you.
Any other business?
No other business at this time.
Any public comment?
I just wanted to comment that due to the Memorial Day holiday falling on a Monday, the next Board of Control meeting is scheduled for May 29th, 2018. Again, Tuesday, May 29th, 2018.
Thank you. Any other comment? Seeing none, I move to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.